All right. So happy Thursday night, viewers. Welcome to Women on Words. I am author Sierra London, and along with my guest co host, writer Michelle Ingrid, we are Women on Words Facebook Live. And tonight's guest is author Ja'Nese Dixon. Welcome, ladies.
Hey,
Hello, hello.
thank you
Uh,
for having me.
Yeah, we are thrilled to have you here. So, for everybody that's online, if you want to ask questions, be sure to go over to the Women on Words Facebook page because we're also going live on other pages on Facebook if you want to ask questions so we can see your comments. So, we only have 30 minutes, so I'm going to jump right into it. So, Janice, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you write, how long you've been writing, and how many books or series do you have?
Oh, okay. Look, if I forget one, look.
I'll repeat it. Don't worry.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so thank you for having me. My name is Ja'Nese, and I've been writing for a really long time. But my first novel was published, I think, like 12 years ago.
Wow.
And so between two pen names, I have in the ballpark of 40 novels between
Wow.
novellas and novels.
That's wonderful.
And yeah, I always said, like, I can't remember, I can't believe I'm a writer. My mom's like, I don't know why not. Right.
I know.
I was the kid with a notebook, always writing poetry, short stories. And so now
Hmm.
I get paid to do it.
I
So
know.
Nice.
And your mom, she's so proud of you. I'm on your page sometimes and I see like she's always just shouting out to you. So you like mama's baby. She's always shouting out.
I'm using, Mama, don't use my government name. This is what I be telling her. She get mad.
Yeah, and I'm careful with that too because I know your government
Ooh.
name too. So Janice, tell us now. You said you've been writing for a long time. You have over
Mhm.
40 books, but tell us what genres you write in. Do you write in one
Oh,
genre or across multiple genres?
great question. So primarily, I call it steamy romance, or I really like to call it family romance because family
Okay.
is always at the heart of it. And then I have
Hmm.
another pen name where I write paranormal romance, but
Okay.
mostly steamy romance. I always like to say I like to do like throwback to like Harlequin, like Rochelle Ellers,
Yes.
Brenda Jackson. That's the kind of feel I like. I just get a little bit more clutch your pearlish
Oh,
sometimes.
okay. All
Right.
right. We like
That's
clutching
me.
pearls.
Clutch your pearls. I like it.
Yes, you got to
Yeah.
get ready for it.
Now, since you like to go back a little bit, why don't you tell us for the readers who might be new to you, what got you into this game? Like you said, you were the kid who always had the notebook in hand. And I
Mhm.
know for some folks, I know Michelle is a journaler. She's always got a notebook with her. But what made you make that leap into writing that first novel? Tell us what it was and actually publishing it.
Mhm.
Mm. I I had a very I had a great experience with finding African American romance. And I
Okay.
was like 16 or 17 and I was so shocked because I was like, wait, they're black? That's how it
Yeah.
was. And I
Mhm.
wrote the author a letter and she wrote me back and we stayed friends for a really long time. And so
Oh.
Who was
I
it?
was
Who
in
was it?
grad school. I know
You know,
back
I
when it was
wanna know
letters, it
too.
was who which story it was?
Which
Oh,
author?
it was Evelyn Palfrey. And
Yes, I
she
know
Oh,
Evelyn.
that's so
and she
awesome.
I wrote her and she was just like, you could come to this book club. And I was the only
Oh,
teenager in the middle of all these adult women. And I
oh.
had my questions and I was ready. I drove across town and I was so ready. And that just stuck with me. Just so many
Wow.
things about that. It was her, it was the books. I went to go get it. It was at back when we used to have Essence bestsellers list for Black literature, and
Yes.
Yeah.
it just had like a sense of nostalgia. So when I
Hmm.
finished grad school and I knew that I wasn't going to go into practicing law, I was like, I really wanted to do something that I just felt good about and that
Yeah.
would let me still be home. My babies were young And so I actually had a few clients at the time that I was doing marketing with. I used to market African American literature. And
Wow.
then one
Oh,
of them was,
okay.
she just asked me, she was like, "Have you ever thought about editing?" And I
Uh-huh.
was like, "No, but I can give you some good tips. I've read enough." And that started. And so it just evolved from there to then I was like, okay, if they just did what I told them to do, they would do so much better. I was like, I'm going to show them. So I wrote my first novel. And then after that, it was like, that's a wrap. And I literally just was like, I'm just going to do it. And I sat and I did. And that's Black Diamond. That was my first
Okay.
novel,
Okay.
my very
Okay.
first novel. And it's evolved over time, but the heart of what I do and the heart of what I write is very much the same. I mean, I've gone from being what I would consider like fade to black, closed doors to full steamy, which was an
Uh-huh.
evolution. But even in the past, I would say 2 years, I've really, no, probably like year and a half, I've really buckled down because I realized like the story of how Black women show up in the world, how um, our our style of strength, who we are, why we have to be the way that we are,
Mhm.
is so important to me. And I get to depict that in my books. So I'm a
Yes.
mixture of African American romance, and I do write Black woman, white man romance or interracial romance,
Okay.
Okay.
and just having very specific reasons why. Because at first I didn't want to do that, and I was like,
Mhm.
it was grad school that made me realize that like a lot of options for Black women are changing because
Yes.
of the climate, the culture, the options. And so it's
Hmm.
like, if you really want to live your dream, sometimes you've got to open yourself up. So I had to open myself up. And so it's just been an evolution, and I'm enjoying the journey.
Now, that is beautiful. I mean, you said so much there to
Oh,
unpack, but and I know I got to move on because Michelle has her questions too. But something you said really hit home with me because I was having a conversation earlier today with my narrator, my book narrator, and she happens to be African American, and I write primarily interracial romance, and she said to me, Sierra, do you know any Black women who've met men like what you write about in these books? And it kind of took me, I was like, actually, I do. And she was like, where they at? Because
listen.
That's funny.
where are these men at? And
Mm.
what struck me about that question is like when I first started writing interracial romance, I was mixing it up. I would write some AA. I was like, okay, let's feed this audience, and I would write some interracial romance. And then I found that my passion was really writing interracial romance. It really is.
Mm,
And it's because of the world that I see around me. Like that's the life that, that's what my circle looks like. But to have her ask that question, um, like it really, like you said, like our stories are changing, they are evolving, and we want to see that reflected in our literature. And to
mm,
hear you say that as an author, I think it resonates with a lot of authors who've been in the game a little
Mhm.
bit
It
and
does.
the readers out there as well. I see
It
Michelle
does.
shaking her head.
Well, no, I'm
well,
just saying it does. It does.
and I
You,
think the thing about it is right now, and especially when you have movements like, Black love and all that. And I'm like, yeah, you're still pro Black love, but don't I deserve love too? Now I'm married to a Black man, but when I was in that environment, it was almost like this choice. Like, okay,
mhm.
so if I can't get him, then and it was so few options. And I was like, well, dang, I'm so glad. Look, I snagged my husband in high school because the way people act right now, I would either catch a case or be single. So it was so
Catch a case. Oh my
yes,
goodness. Go
because we
ahead.
had to cut up. You really, it's like one of these things of, you really have to love yourself and you have to be open to people that love you. And I think what you will find is a lot of times there are quite a few men that they can see the value in a strong, beautiful Black woman. And it's understandable how you would want these other choices, but sometimes it's just like, if you took the career path, and I was in law school, you took the career path, you went to graduate school, then you go to work and you look around and you're in your 30s, or you're in your almost knocking on 40s, and you may say, okay, what does that look like? and
Right.
and that's when I just felt like I do still mix it up because that's what I like, but it is something that I think it just does mirror a lot of the state of things.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Michelle?
Mhm. No, I was gonna say I wholeheartedly agree. I end up recommending a lot of interracial romances to some women who feel guilty about
Mm,
stepping outside of their own
Yes.
communities. But the thing I always try to recommend, and granted, take it with a grain of salt, I'm single. The thing I try to recommend is that you date in the circles you exist in, and Black women no longer exist in a circle that looks just like them. We are not
Right.
in the same world that we were in, say, 40 years ago. The world that we live in is very diverse. And I think that, there's nothing wrong with wanting to date exclusively in your own community. But at the same
mm,
time, if you can see love in all of its different patterns and then
Yeah.
convince yourself that you deserve love, then you stop seeing the other stuff. But I'm
mhm,
curious, JaNese, about where are you in the world? No specifics. And how
mhm,
has it influenced your writing and your writing journey?
mm. I am in Houston. Well, I could say
Okay.
Houston, girl. Houston's so big. If y'all
Yes.
saw,
Yes,
Yes, it
yes,
is.
so I'm
yes.
in Houston, and I'm not from here, but I am here, and it does influence a lot of what I write.
Mhm.
So like my most recent series that's still going on right now
Mm-hmm.
is set in Houston,
Mm-hmm.
where it's a family that they have a soul food restaurant in Houston,
Ladies
Love
and
and
it.
gentlemen,
I
that's the Southern Gentleman series that she's
that's
talking
right.
about. Go on.
Yes.
Yeah, come on, come through. Look,
Come
and
through.
so it
Represent.
okay, get ready. And I just really wanted something, you have all types of businesses, but I really
Mm-hmm.
wanted something that just felt good, right? Like that
Mm-hmm.
it just
Mm.
feels good.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Mm-hmm.
has its own level of drama, of course, but I always tell people I'm a low drama type of writer. A lot
Yeah.
of the drama comes from um, family dynamics. It
Mm-hmm.
comes from, and in this case, in Southern Gentleman series, it's like the parents were
Mm-hmm.
married, then they got divorced for like
Mm-hmm.
20 years and they remarried.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And each one of the children has their own take
Yeah.
of how that whole dynamic went down. And
Yeah.
so in each one of the books, it kind of unfolds a little bit, but you see each of them kind of wrestling with how they depicted that
Mm-hmm.
relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I get to like have a whole lot of fun and play with different dynamics. And so, yeah, and it's here in Houston.
Okay, so
And
I
yeah,
have a question
come
regarding
on.
your series. Actually, regarding several of your series. You've
Okay.
written rock stars.
Uh-huh.
You're
Yes.
now you now have like NFL players and restaurateurs in the same series, along
Yes.
with girl. You put a wedding planner through a double wedding. Why would you do
That's
that to
right.
her?
Because she
Okay.
look, and it was so good.
That was mean. That was so mean. But
Baby,
like
she was ready to quit too. But go
you have a real like one of the brothers, he's not only a part of the family restaurant, but he also runs a real estate company. So I have to ask, what has been your favorite profession to write? Because I see you sticking a lot of these football
Ooh,
Yeah.
players in here.
I
What has been your
do.
favorite profession to write? And is there one that you haven't written yet that you are looking forward to writing?
Mm. Oh, that's a good question. So I'm gonna say this. I don't do like I, I I don't like, well, let me say it this way. In this book, we a lot of times we probably our kids will know different about having a sense of legacy and parents passing on
Mm-hmm.
businesses to their children. And I think it kind
Yeah.
of skipped a generation because it was, you had mom and pop that would pass to kids, and then you kind of had a era where they were like, we want to do our own thing. And that's kind of the dynamic that's in Southern Gentlemen. Like they had their own businesses, or they
Yeah.
own their own ventures. But now the
Mhm.
mom is like, look, either y'all step up or it's going to be whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had to come together.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the different professions, I think I always like business in general. And the reason
Mm-hmm.
why is because
Yes.
you can play with it. It's a
Yeah.
lot. You know,
Yeah.
Yes.
you can make look writing, you can make up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think having this dynamic here was good because they could each bring their own set of skill set to make
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
family business thrive.
Yeah.
And that's what I really liked in Southern Gentlemen. But I just love playing with all of it. I know some people are like, "What she just you got to tune in to see what I do next."
Well,
Okay, so I got one more question because
Because
I
okay.
I
feel like I would not be doing your fans justice if I didn't ask the question that they're asking. So I
uh-oh.
know
Uh-huh.
that you have the Demetrius's book is coming out later this month on the
Uh-huh.
23rd, and your
Mhm.
fans want to know when Quan's book coming.
Listen, if I get one more book about email about Quan,
Why you starting stuff, Michelle?
listen, no,
I'm
come
just trying to
on,
do the fans' work, and the
listen.
question has been sitting out there for a minute. Where that book? Where's
It's
Quan's book?
coming.
When's
It's
it coming?
coming. And and it's so funny because I always plan the series before I write a book.
Mm-hmm.
And so I already have them in order. And it wasn't to
Mm-hmm.
one of my fans. She said, I think you should save Quan's book for last. And I said, you know
Oh.
what?
Oh,
Got you. And when they read his story,
okay.
it's off the chain. Uh,
Okay.
All
That's
so
so
right.
he's coming.
cruel. They gotta
Somebody
And
just
I
wait.
put a
That's
even,
so
I'm
thumbs
gonna give
up.
y'all
mean.
an exclusive too. Look, and I got a
Okay.
surprise coming the
Okay.
first part of next year. So get
All
ready.
right. We like
Get
exclusives.
ready. Get ready. They're
All
gonna be like,
right.
what? Yeah.
I'm
Mm.
watching you, lady.
I
Watching
Come
you.
on,
know.
watch me. I'm gonna give you something to
Yeah. So
watch.
I love all of that. I am I'm from the South, so I can appreciate a family, a big family that's close knit, or at least trying to be,
Hmm.
and a soul food restaurant because we do love to eat in the South, and a lot happens around food, a lot of
Yeah.
drama, but a lot of important conversations and decisions as well. So I can totally relate to that. So I have to ask you, for an author like you have 40 books. Um, New to you reader, where would you suggest they start in your catalog? Which
Okay.
book?
Mm. You know,
On the spot.
I honestly feel like you can literally dive in anywhere because even though the Southern Gentleman series, it kind of does build on as far as timeline is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mhm.
they all are standalones. But I always tell people if you like contemporary romance, Rockstar Secrets is probably a really good place to
Oh.
start.
Oh,
Yeah, because
okay.
even though I say rock star, I tell people there's R&B. I have an R&B soul singer in there. I have a
Mm-hmm.
hip
Mm-hmm.
hop a singer from NOLA. She's from New Orleans up in there. I have a R&B a white guy that sings R&B like a
Oh
crooner.
yeah, like a
So it's
John
like
B,
that's
I
right.
knew
a
that's
Robin
exactly where
Thicke.
my head
I
went. John
know,
B.
right? Oh, hey, pretty
So it's
mama.
just
Oh
come on.
yeah, come on,
Look, you gotta come on now. Then you
bring
said we
it.
had 30 minutes. But I always say that that was a good place to start because that is like to me, even though it's rock star, it's like a contemporary romance, and I think Southern Gentleman is like the extension of that
Mm-hmm.
because
Okay.
that's a lot more. I don't want to say it's some people. Let's say it this way. I feel like it's steeped a lot in how we as Black people operate
Mm,
within our dynamic, and
mhm.
my audience is a mixed audience. So if you start there, you might be like, oh, because my characters talk the way they talk. But then if you go to Rockstar Secrets, it's a lot more, it's not as heavy with slang sometimes.
Okay,
So I
more
don't go all the
general
way to like
English.
urban, but
Mm.
I do. You get people that is just like, oh, you really about to pop off? You got to know what pop off mean, or you
That
gonna
is
miss
true.
that whole jump off right there. So I tell people that that's a good place, and it's also a good place because the series is done, so you can go all the
Mm-hmm.
way through.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people are just loving the Southern Gentleman, and then now, and I would say this: if you like something short, like
Uh-huh.
the Blaze in Love series, those
Okay.
are I think it's 10 or 11 like novellas. and it follows 10 girlfriends that are
Mhm.
millionaires that are
Oh,
building a business together. So it's centered
Mhm.
on, and they're sisters. And when they go in hard.
I love
So
that.
it's just like
Mhm.
10 black women, and they call themselves, they say, they call them women in black. They
Okay.
dress
Mhm.
all in black and they fly and they don't take no mess. So
Oh,
they
I
You
love
hear
that.
support
that, Sierra?
everybody.
They are
Yes,
allowed to wear black. She gets on me for wearing too
I
much.
know. I know.
Mhm.
I know. I love my
Mhm.
colors.
You
I
hear
do.
that? You hear
I do.
that? I
I
just
tell
want
y'all,
to put
I'm
that
from
out
Florida,
there.
right? We're
I just
like
want to
the
put that. I'm a New Yorker, honey.
Sunshine
Black
State.
is part of the costume. It's the
I,
wardrobe.
okay. Well, you don't have to
Hmm.
wear it just
Hmm.
sitting on the couch over
Thank you,
here.
Ja'Nese.
Just
Thank
sitting
you
over
for
the
putting
couch
that out there.
over here.
Thank you.
I
Just
was
me,
gonna be in
you,
the
and the
middle of it,
cat.
but
Yeah, like
Thank you.
yeah, it don't take all that. But
Hmm.
anyway,
Hmm.
okay. Okay.
Take my allies
So,
where I can find them.
oh my goodness. Why you bring her into our drama? She just said she
Hmm.
was a low
Hmm.
drama
Hmm.
author. Now okay,
Hmm.
all right.
listen, I followed that TikTok video where it's like black ombre, this shiny black. I'm like, that's all. It's like my color. She was like, my wardrobe is colorful.
Exactly.
Okay,
Thank you.
with your black ombre. Okay. Which I
Yeah.
love. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, wow, you have said so much, but I want you to talk to us a little bit about something you do as an offshoot of your writing. Talk to us about Black Love
Mm.
and that
Mm,
website and what you're doing there. Tell us about it
yes. You
and where
know,
it came from.
yeah, it's called Black Love Books, and it features African American, interracial, and multicultural romance,
Mhm.
in any of the subgenres of romance. And so we have a newsletter that goes out weekly, and special editions that features pre-orders, Kindle Unlimited books. Mainly, it was just that you have all of these other places to have your books featured, but they're not necessarily audiences that look for books with Black female heroines, or
Yes.
and I know we have diverse audiences, but our list, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for Black woman, white men, or they're looking for, African American romance. And it's been a challenge in some ways, but I wouldn't change it.
Mhm.
Um, and that's what we do. So it's actually me and my husband, and we have someone that come and help sometimes,
Oh, nice.
and just featuring Black books and interracial books, and just keeping it out there.
Wow. How long has your husband been working with you on a project? I think that's awesome. That's not something I
Mhm.
hear all that often.
Mm-mm.
Well, see, I always tell people, like, we've been working from home before the pandemic. So
Okay.
we actually we have a website development business, and we've been in business
Oh, okay.
22 years. So
Oh,
Cool.
we've worked
wow.
together. Yeah, so we
Nice.
worked, so business partners. And so he does the website and all of that, and our son works in our company as our project manager.
Ah.
Oh,
And so it allows me to write and play, because once they graduated from school, I was able to kind of step away and just do editing and writing. So I do it full time now.
Okay, so see, that was going to be my next question. How
yes.
do you
Oh,
manage full-time job? I mean, I'm looking at just the series that you're working on now. You released two books in that series on top of another series, and you've already knocked out two this year with another one coming. So how are
Mhm.
you managing it? That's a lot.
It
mhm.
is. I always tell people that I always have to remind them, like, this is what I do full time.
Hmm.
So even
Mhm.
though I work with clients and everything, like, I'm a beast about my schedule.
Hmm.
Okay.
We wake up early, so I wake up at 4 every morning.
Okay.
Um,
Ooh,
and
that's
I'm usually up
bedtime.
and working. Listen, and I'm on it. Like, I always tell people I love writing, but it also for me is a business. Because if that's the case, I could just write for myself. It'll be a very expensive hobby.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
I'm about my business, and honestly, I love it. Like, I read to relax. I read to work. I read like, it's crazy. And there's some days where I'm sitting, I'm like, I get paid to do this. And it's
Right.
crazy to me, but it's actually like, it's just such a blessing. Reading and books changed my life literally, and it does every single day.
Okay.
Wow.
Mhm.
That is a
Yeah.
powerful, powerful story. So you're a full-time writer.
Hmm.
Okay. You also edit.
Hmm.
You and your husband also manage Black Love Books, which I know when I first came into business back in 2015, I did one of your I want to say Black
Oh,
Friday projects, like where you feature
oh,
Black Love Books on Black Friday. So
yeah.
you'll
Hmm.
have to tell us, are you doing something like that again this year? What's going on?
Yes, yes, we're
Okay.
planning to. For a little while, it was like I mean, it just was a little bit of a struggle for a little while because I felt like we don't always get the same shine. And then what I had to do is change my perspective because that's
Mm,
not why I do it. So whether people take advantage of it, that's on them. It's not on me because that I'm doing what I want to do in space. So we're planning to answer your question, yes. And so
okay.
yeah, we've been doing it now since, man, I don't even know. I think we've been 4 years, 5 years, maybe. I don't know.
Wow.
Don't
Yeah,
even know how long anymore. I just stopped. I just like, as long as people keep asking us to feature and
Hmm.
we do different things, and we actually are kind of working on an evolution of it for next year because now I just feel like I just want to do some stuff because I can.
right. Right. That's a good place
Yeah.
to be able to do something
Yeah.
because you can and
Yeah.
open doors for folks. I remember
Mhm.
being really excited when I found your website and that you featured, Black romance, interracial romance, because there's just not a lot that gets, like you said, a lot of shine. Or that folks are really paying attention to. So I'm so happy that you're able to mention that on our platform here because we really are about elevating women in business. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah,
And
that,
yeah, and just like I appreciate you asking about it. And we have some things coming up where we actually wanted to start doing more, even just like pushing ads there. Because I tell people all the time, like our readers gobble it up. So it's just
yeah,
I just have to keep being consistent and
yeah,
as
keep
we
Hmm.
pushing.
grow it, you know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Michelle, any last questions?
I think I asked my major last question. I should have held the Quan question for last.
No, that was good.
No,
So,
because they ready for Quan. They are ready
yes,
for
yes,
Quan.
they
They
are.
are. They are.
I
Yeah,
know they
that
be
was a
putting it
big
in the
one.
reviews of the other books. With when
Yeah, we
Quan
saw that.
coming?
That was the first place I encountered it. That
Yes,
was the first
yes.
place I encountered a question about him. Actually, the question wasn't just about him. It was also they were asking about Demetrius as well. And they're like, when are we gonna get Demetrius and Quan's books?
I
Yeah,
So,
get emails every single day from
I
readers,
believe
like
it.
telling me
yes.
she don't deserve him. What's your? I be like, okay, y'all know they characters in the book. Right.
I love that.
Okay. They're
I do too.
vested. They're
They
invested.
Yes,
are.
and that's
They
a
are.
good feeling as an
It
author
is.
to
Hmm.
have your readers like eager for the next book. So
Yeah.
you have to tell us where we can find you. If you have any events coming up this year for
Hmm.
yourself, for Black Love Books, tell us about your editing and how authors can connect with you with that as well, and
Hmm.
where to find you on social media.
Oh goodness, the whole list. Well, first of all, I'm gonna say thank you so much for
You're
this
welcome.
opportunity. Y'all can call me in to be a cackling hen anytime. Uh, so you guys can find me at JaNeseDixon.com, and it's spelled just like my name, JaNeseDixon.com. And you'll see my books, and of course, I'm on Goodreads, BookBub, Amazon. You can follow there for alerts. The next book in the Southern Gentleman series will be coming out later this year in September, so September
23rd.
23rd. And it's
Mhm.
Full Rush with Demetrius. And then, so yeah, and I got some other stuff up my sleeve for this year. So y'all just keep your eyes open and don't be too shocked because I'm telling you, people gonna be shocked.
We're ready.
Okay.
No, I don't think they're ready. I really
Oh,
don't think they're
oh,
ready.
Oh, I love that
Yeah,
okay.
when the author
I'm gonna
says
need
that.
Michelle to come back once I'm done. And be like, "Was you ready,
Clutching pearls.
Clutching pearls. I love clutching pearls. So I have that. For
Like
Black
my
Love Books, you
fan.
can go to Black. Yes, come on. blacklovebooks.com. And we always have different things, whether it's about pre-orders, Kindle Unlimited, daily specials. I always tell people, even if you subscribe to the newsletter, you should subscribe to the blog, because you'll get updates in between the newsletter going out. And then for the for the editing, you can go to Danger Tales, and it's DANJATALES.com. And you'll see me doing a presentation during I think they've announced it, Pro Writer Romance Week in October.
Nice.
I'll be doing a presentation on plotting, and then we have some new courses that'll be rolling out, if not later this year, the beginning of next year. So
Awesome.
I stay busy. When you stay busy, you stay out of trouble.
That is true. That is very true. Well, we thank you so much for joining us here for Women on Words Live, and we hope that you will come back, because folks will probably want to talk to you about Quan and Demetrius and everybody else in the Southern Gentleman series. Yes,
and Maya.
Yes.
I'm just gonna.
Yes, and we want to thank our viewers for who joined us online tonight. So we will be back on the air next Thursday with author Lindell Williams. Okay. And until then, be amazing, be awesome, be wild. We'll see you next time. You ladies stay on the line while I end the broadcast. All right. Let's see. All right there.